Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
Hello, everybody.
And we're back.
I'm John,
I'm Justin.
and this is
Gore
Gore Goblins,
Goblins.
the show where we talk about horror movies we like
Some we don't.
and some we've never heard of.
Yeah.
But today we have a special guest again. It's Kale.
Oh.
Everybody, back from the 3-week.
You spoke, we listened.
Yeah, we brought him back. He's here to talk about whatever we do, whatever he talks about. It's Kale.
Yeah, we don't know what movie we're talking about
Yeah,
today.
we don't know what movie you're talking about. It's been about 3 weeks, though.
Yeah,
so
sorry for that.
I'm going to apologize for that. Part of it was because of Thanksgiving. Part of it was because I didn't have the energy to research or anything. But I did it last week, so here we are. We're good.
Yeah, you see, if we had recorded like we were supposed to, I would have made a bunch of Thanksgiving references. That would have been great.
Ugh.
But no.
Yeah, see, the Kale's response would have been mine.
So be grateful, everyone.
Yeah, be grateful. Count your blessings. All
Just
that
go watch
shit.
the movie on your own. It's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it great? I don't know if that's true.
Isn't that one of those that like it skipped 2, so it's just
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving 3?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanksgiving 3 is about Thanksgiving 2 never being released. And how
Yeah.
the turkey wants it to get out there.
What a franchise that one. What a goofy franchise. Much like the entry in the franchise that we're talking about today, which is, of course, Army of Darkness.
Oh.
Who someone tried to tell me wasn't a comedy movie.
Imagine.
Fucking idiot.
Listen, I'm gonna be.
Was it Josh?
No.
Okay. That's my default. Whenever.
There were so many points while we were watching it that I was like, imagine watching this scene and then saying with your whole chest,
It's not even scary though.
yeah, so it's not a comedy. Evil Dead 2 is more of a comedy than Army of Darkness. Imagine thinking that unironically. Couldn't be me. Absolutely fucking not. Could not be me. This is a slapsticky fucking ass movie. You know, that's a word that I
That
just
person
said.
also watched Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Which is even more.
Did they know that was a comedy?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, but yeah, Ash vs. Evil Dead felt more akin to like Evil Dead 2, but it was definitely more humor. It was more like Army of Darkness style humor, I think.
Yeah. It kind of strikes a balance, but like watching it in Army of Darkness again, I was just like watching the theatrical like studio ending. I was like, oh, they just made an entire series out of this.
Yeah, fucking yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and don't worry, we'll talk. We're gonna talk about everything about this movie. But first, it's a sidetrack segment because it's been 3 weeks, and in those 3 weeks, we did stuff. Kinda. I don't know. Did you do stuff, Justin? It was Thanksgiving.
Oh, I worked on Thanksgiving, so
Oh
I
my
had to
God,
that was
y'all were
horrible.
open on
Of
Thanksgiving.
course we
I
were.
mean, yeah, I feel like that would be a popular joint for
I mean,
Thanksgiving.
surprisingly, it wasn't bad because they had it set up to where we just had like a pre-planned meal, so like everything came
okay.
with the same thing,
Oh, so it's for old people who are lonely, huh?
basically, or
That's
lazy
their MO.
people.
Wow, that's depressing.
Yeah, I burned myself with fryer oil,
Classic. You know, that doesn't sound good.
and finally watched Terrifier 2, like I told you.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's on the list. We're gonna be covering both of them, and
Jeez.
that's a lot of splatter to get through.
I can still hear the screaming in my head.
I watched Elvis the Alien's review of it, and even though it was censored, I was still like, man, this is violent. This is rough. Oh my god.
Like I know it's for a certain audience, but like I watched bits and pieces of it, and I guess it kind of marks the difference between like my enjoyment of like the Evil Dead series and something like that. Is Evil Dead is at least over the top and like has fun with it, whereas Terrifier like pretends to be over the top, but all the violence feels like super grounded and just like
Yeah.
gross and like mean spirited. I don't know. I can see the people it's for. Like that's fine. But yeah, I was watching it just like I feel sick.
What was that
It's
tweet
gross.
you told me?
Oh, that Art the Clown is if Bugs Bunny wanted you dead. It's very it's very on brand. Yeah, I don't know. I I was talking to Kale about this the other day because I like funny games, which is a very depressing thing, and like I like watching shit that's like I don't know, awful for some reason. I think it's that thing where like I just like it when a movie makes me feel something, even if that feeling is like disgust and misery. I still like it for some reason, depending on. I have my limits with it, but it just depends. But I don't know. Sometimes I can watch a horrifying, or not horrifying, but like a really upsetting movie and just be like, yeah, that was fun. I'm gonna watch that again tomorrow. For some reason,
I've already watched it like 3 times.
I'm not surprised. Anyway,
Like Extremity has its own kind of morbid appeal to it.
yeah.
Because I had to show somebody the movie, and they were like, "Why are you smiling through this scene?
I
Like,
mean,
what is wrong with you?"
Well, that was what I liked about the Elvis the Alien video because his wife is just like upset and he's just kind of like, haha, like laughing at it because it's just so ridiculous. But it's also, like Kale said, it feels very grounded at the same time. So it's very strange. But you know, it's schlock.
Aside from the ending of the movie, that just
It's splatter schlock.
decides to do whatever the fuck it wants.
Yeah, that's horror movies for you. I don't know what to tell you. But also, we went to go see. We went to another death metal show. Me and Kale. We went to see Undeath and 200 Stab Wounds. It was a good show.
Yeah.
A lot of stage diving.
Yeah.
A dude lost his glasses in front of us.
Well, he got them back, but he lost a lens.
Oh, he lost the lens. Yeah, the lens popped out. It was a good show though.
That's nice though. In the middle of everyone losing their minds, there's people like looking on the ground, like shining their flashlights.
Yeah, because it was far enough removed from the pit.
Yeah.
where it wasn't
No,
going
if
to
it was
be.
in the pit, he
He
those
would have
things
died.
been
He
gone.
probably would have died. There was so it was phobophilic, I think is the word.
Yeah.
Is how you say it. They're a metal band from North Dakota. They were really good. Liked them a lot. If you like death metal that's like old school 90s shit, they're right up your alley. Reminded me a lot of Death in some places, and I love Death. And then Enforced, which is like this thrashy crossover band. It's like Slayer if they were more punk, which is great, and that was cool. That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
That was like a 5-piece band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the second time I saw them live, and they were really good. I re-listened to their album that I bought, Kill Grid, and it's really fucking good. I don't know why. I was telling Mike like man, yeah, I don't know. They're better live than on the record. And I listened to the record again, and I was like, what the fuck was I talking about? This is amazing. And then obviously Undeath. I've talked about them before. They're great. And then 200 Stab Wounds. I don't think I mentioned them before, but 200 Stab Wounds is another one of those gore bands that's really heavy, and I like them a lot. They do a lot of like really fast, catchy breakdowns, like and they keep changing it up, and it's really cool. You're never bored. I was never bored listening to them. They're really cool. It's the second time I've seen them too. Second time I've seen everybody except for Phobophilic, and seeing them all on the same bill was pretty awesome. Go to death metal shows. They're fun.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like death metal, they're fun.
Yeah, like I've never gone out of my way to listen to death metal. Probably won't, but I've gone to 2 or 3 shows.
You went to Gate Creeper. You went to. You saw the last show with Undeath, right?
Yeah.
The Sanguisuga Bog,
Yeah.
and then this was the third one.
Yeah, I've gone to 3 of them now, and they were all tons of fun.
And we're gonna go see Morbid Angel in March.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Bunch of old timers.
Oh yeah, 40 years. They're 40 years old. The 80s were 40 years away. Predator is gonna be 40 years old in this fucking decade.
Fuck yeah.
Blue Velvet's gonna be 40 years old. The Thing is already 40 years old. We're getting older. The advance of
Oh.
time. The slow march of time waits for no one.
Oh, there's other things I did. I made the mistake of getting addicted to Call of Duty again.
Yeah, he
God.
bought Modern Warfare 2.
Just stick with drugs. It's healthier.
Is it? At least it's not League. At least it's not League of Legends.
Yeah.
Like some of my
All,
friends.
all things considered.
I finally played the Quarry for myself.
Yeah,
Oh.
you were telling me about that, and you had a lot of fun with it. That's
I'm
good.
already playing it again.
That's good. Getting all those endings. I want to try that is it VHS mode, the one where you can like just pick all their attributes and then
It's just called movie mode.
it's movie mode. That's what it was. Yeah, I'm thinking of the VHS filter that you can put over it. Yeah, I kind of want to try that movie mode. One of these days. I still have it. It's back there somewhere. But anyway, I think that's everything. Unless Kale wants to share some Thanksgiving festivities or whatever. He did.
No, not this year. No conspiracy theories at the dinner table, unfortunately.
Thank God. Oh, it's better than my Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our certified Thanksgiving sidetrack segment. where we talk about stuff that isn't pertaining to the episode movie.
We'll bookend it with like a stock gobble sound effect.
I'll have to find one, but I'll do it if I can. If I could find one. Just. But anyway, yeah, we're here to talk about Army of Darkness. 1992, written and directed by Sam Raimi, also co-written by Ivan Raimi, his brother, who usually, from what I found, helps him co-write a bunch of shit. Pretty sure he helped with one of the Spider-Mans, probably that first one. And then, yeah.
It's also a doctor, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really? He's a doctor?
Did you listen to the commentary?
I did, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think like he comes in like halfway through and they mention like, oh yeah, he just finished his shift at the hospital.
Oh shit. Huh. Yeah, I missed that part. Must have just gone in one ear out the other. It happens. I listen. I was tired. Anyway, Army of Darkness. Good movie for me, but what do you think, Justin?
Fucking great.
Yeah.
I was not bored an entire second. And just like Evil Dead 1 and 2, the movie wastes no time.
No.
It just gets going right from the start, and you're entertained the entire time. Fucking Bruce Campbell just does his best.
It's only like 80 minutes, I think,
It's
too.
Theatrical cut is.
The theatrical cut's like 80 minutes. I think the director's cut's like 10 more minutes or 11
It's
more minutes?
96.
90. Oh, okay. It's like 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one that the commentary was on the director's cut track. Or the director's cut.
Judging by what they're saying, that's the cut they prefer.
Yeah, because the studio came in and, mucked it up.
Yeah. I mean,
As they do.
Fucked it up. No.
Well, no, it's still very good.
yeah, I mean,
but-
yeah. Even then, the theatrical cut is still a lot of fun. I think the only big difference between them is the ending,
The ending and
the windmill scene.
the little pit bitch scene has like a couple of extra shots,
Okay.
like when she gets decapitated.
Yeah.
And then the windmill
Windmill,
scene
there's
has
a-
more context.
There's a scene of him actually recruiting Henry the Red instead of them just showing up
Just
out of
showing
the blue.
up, yeah, out of nowhere. That's right.
Was that in the director's cut or just a deleted scene?
I think that was in the director's cut. I don't remember because I watched the deleted scenes too.
Yeah.
But and then yeah, the ending is the biggest difference. That's like the most significant one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess needless to say, Kale, you enjoy this film, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mentioned it in the first Evil Dead episode, but this is the one I watched first. I'm pretty sure because I don't know if they explain in the commentary why by this point they just kind of dropped all the gore and extremity and leaned it more towards just a fantasy adventure type thing. But even then, somehow after going from Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 to this one, it still works.
I think Sam Raimi, in one of the special features, Bruce Campbell was talking about how Sam Raimi was like, nah, we already did the horror thing. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something different. And then because I don't remember if it was the makeup effect. I don't remember if it was K&B or if it was one of the producers that was like, Sam, this isn't a fucking horror movie. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I've already done all that. And then they're talking about how when they're in the editing process, they ended up doing reshoots because Sam didn't admit it, but I think the guy from K&B was like, I think he kind of felt like, yeah, this needs a little bit more horror in it. So, like, that witch scene is a reshoot, and a couple of other shots were added in to give it more of a horror vibe. But I don't think it really needed it because the screwball stuff works. It's very slapstick, very Three Stooges, which was a big influence on Evil Dead 2 as well. But it's also a very big influence on here. The whole like final sequence is inspired by shit like Jason and the Argonauts and stuff. And I think it pulls together really well. I like this one a lot. Not as much as Evil Dead 2 or 1. I might like it about as much as 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, Evil Dead 2 is definitely my favorite, but I think this one and the first one are about even.
Evil
on even
Dead 2
ground.
is like tip-top, yeah. I don't think you can really beat that one because that's a nice blend of both. And yeah, obviously goes without saying, spoilers, if you're clicking on this, you already fucking know what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you already know. You already know. This is our 21st episode. Come on. Just get with the program.
Our show can drink.
I don't think that's how that works, Justin. I don't think. I think it's not even a year old.
It's
It's
fine.
not a year old
It's
until
fine.
May. All right, and then it'll be a year old, and then I don't know.
We
Then
make
it
the
can
rules
drink.
for our
Then
show.
it can drink,
I say it can
exactly.
do what it wants.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I dig this one. I dig this one about as much as the first one. So there's a lot to talk about. Most of it pertaining to the production and stuff that I don't know if I want to get into now or like during us talking about the general plot of it. But this was, I think it was, this was another studio movie that was done because Sam Raimi did Darkman, and that was like, that was actually a financial success, unlike Crime Wave. So because of that, Universal was like, hey, you want to make another Evil Dead? And he was like, oh, yeah, all right. So then they wanted to call it Medieval Dead, but they didn't. I don't remember why. I don't remember. I think it was a rights thing.
Man.
Kind of sounds like Medieval.
Yeah.
Like the game.
Yeah, it was going to be that.
I think the studio may have just talked him out of it.
Yeah, the studio, because the studio...
Which is bullshit. We were robbed.
Because Sam Raimi didn't get final cut for this. He still had to obey the studio because the studio wanted a PG-13 movie, and despite not having any gore in it, the MPA was like, hey, this is going to be an NC-17. And Bruce Campbell was talking about how bullshit it was, because like there's barely any blood in the movie, and even after, because the Universal wanted PG-13 because, you know, the studios care more about profit. We've been over this, but like they wanted a PG-13 movie, and after all the cuts, it was still given an R rating by the MPA.
Which makes no fucking sense.
And what's crazy is Bruce Campbell's like, you know, I co-produced the Evil Dead remake in 2013, a very visceral, violent, bloody, gory film. No issues with the MPA. None at all. It just flew through that shit. They just gave it an R. And Bruce Campbell was like, I think it was because, you know, they wanted to get revenge for the first two Evil Dead movies because they just kind of had a chip on their shoulder over it, which is dumb. The MPA is dumb anyway, though. I mean, they always find a way to ruin something. The studios and the ratings board. I mean, look at what they did to Friday the 13th. All of them, really, they had to fuck with that. So,
yeah. Like the most violent thing in the movie is probably the blood guys are coming out of the pit, which is in all cuts of the movie.
Yeah,
so.
it's not even like that. And it's weird because like you watch that, and that's no worse than like in Captain America, the first Avenger, when that dude gets thrown into the fucking propeller. Like that's no worse than that. That's no worse than anything in Drag Me to Hell.
Like I remember seeing that in the theater and everyone just like gasping when it happened because they didn't expect it.
It reminded me of fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was like, whoa, shit. All right, that's cool. But yeah, that's it's
Yeah, that got a fucking PG-13. Someone's trying to give Army of Darkness NC-17.
I don't understand. And like
all the issues they had to go through in like movies like Terrifier exist now.
Well, yeah, but that one wasn't even given to the ratings board. That one wasn't even like.
Yeah, they knew.
They knew. I mean, that stuff like that and like Hatchet 2. I remember reading about Hatchet 2 back in the day, and Adam Green was like, "Why the fuck am I going to take it to the MPA? They're just going to give me an NC-17 anyway. I'll just release it unrated. Who cares?" And AMC was like, "Yeah, we'll release it," and then they didn't. They did it for like a day, I think. There was some controversy. I'm pretty sure I'll find it again whenever we do Hatchet. But yeah, I remember. I remember all that shit, and you know, for a lot of horror, I think it benefits from not going through the MPA, unless it's studio driven. But which I mean, in that case, you got to kind of take the good with the bad, I guess. But yeah, I know in another interview, Bruce Campbell was talking about how this is the only studio movie he's ever done like completely, like because he's like, yeah, you know, the other movies I've been in. He's like, you know, they were independently financed and distributed by a studio, but this was like the first one where Universal paid for everything, and I was a studio actor. Like, I was a lead in a studio film. He's like, and that's the only time I'm ever going to do that. He's like, because I fucking hated it. He's like, I did not have fun because the studio is a studio. All they care about is money. They don't care about art.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right, Sam, or Bruce, fuck.
Oh, nice.
And then he was in Spider-Man. Kind of.
I mean, he had bit parts everywhere else. He was never a lead in a big Hollywood movie.
This is the only time he was a lead in a big studio movie, yeah. And you know what a lead he was. He is like the best part of this fucking movie. There are so many lines, like just little like throwaway lines that he says that are just great. My favorite one was when he's coming back from failing the the failing to say the 3 words to get the Necronomicon, and he's like coming back and he's like, yeah, and they're all like crowding him and shit, and like, oh, the prophesized one is back, and there's that little bit where he's like, fuck out of my face, like just fuck out of here.
The only F-bomb in there, I think.
I love that so much. And then there's a lot of really iconic lines in this one, more so than the last one.
Yeah,
a lot of Duke Nukem.
A lot of which
lines.
Probably almost weren't in there, because like "Hail to the King" is an iconic one, but that was only in the studio ending.
That was only in the studio ending, yeah.
"Give Me Some Sugar," that was written by Ivan, and apparently Sam didn't want to put it in there at first.
The Pillow Talk line too, I think, was another one that was written by one of them, where they were
written
like,
by Ivan, and Sam was like, "What?
What does that even mean?" Yeah, that was the other one. And then I know in the director's cut, there's 2 different lines, because when he shoots Evil Ash, he's like, good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun. And then I don't remember what he says in the director's cut, but it's different.
He says, "I'm not that good."
Okay, yeah, that's right. And speaking of that, there's a lot of cheesy shit in this movie too. But it all works.
It commits 100% to it.
Yeah, and that's
consistent.
what makes it so iconic. Like there's that part where Sheila is evil and she's like, I may be bad, but I feel good. And like in any other fucking movie, I'd roll my eyes, but in this one, I was just like, yeah. You get it. You get it.
As the kids say, she understood the assignment. She knew what she was getting into.
Absolutely. There's also a lot of physical comedy I like when Arthur pulls the sword out of that
the
out
sword
of the
boy.
sheath, and he just fucking kicks the guy back.
Fuck out of the way.
It's great. I love this movie. There's all the physical comedy with the fucking mini ashes. Like when he wakes up and he's like finds himself tied down and he stands up and there's that one
And that's like hysterical.
He's like screaming. It's so good.
That or like that pit witch like doing backflips and shit.
Yeah.
Doing karate stuff.
Imagine watching this movie, any of the scenes that we just talked about,
and
thinking, yeah, this isn't a comedy. Imagine that.
I was gonna say my dad watched this one first, having not seen any of the others.
And then you go back to those first two.
Like I think he saw the trailer and it had "Sad But True" by Metallica in it.
Yeah, that was in the fucking trailer. That was in what do they call it? An EPK, which is basically a special feature on the Blu-ray. They're like doing like it's a studio funded thing, so it's like the studio's like behind the scenes featurette that probably aired like in between movies on HBO or some shit to advertise the movie. And an instrumental of "Sad But True" is playing in the background.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And he was like, "This looks fucking rad."
And it is.
Yeah.
It is. There's like I said, it's just an iconic movie. Like there's so many things that Duke Nukem took from this. I mean, down to the fucking artwork of the game, Not only is it a reference to Doom, but it's also a reference to Army of Darkness. Doom's cover art is a reference to Army of Darkness. His movie, this and They Live did so much for like boomer shooters that it's insane, like absolutely insane. But yeah, Army of Darkness. It's I guess let's go through the plot and I'll remember the shit that I wrote down.
Synopsize
The
it.
plot.
The plot of Army of Darkness. How does it begin, Kale?
With yet another recap.
Yep.
This time starring Bridget Fonda, because she was a fan of Evil Dead 2, I guess.
Which is I think in an interview Bruce was talking about how like that just happens, like they just people. It's like it's always the people you least expect coming up to you being like, oh hey yeah. Or like their agent coming to you and being like, hey, yeah, so-and-so is a big fan of you, so if you got anything going on with that, just let us know. And Bridget Fonda is a new Linda. And,
For a couple seconds.
Not for long at all. She's barely in the fucking movie. It's like it's a glorified cameo.
Yeah.
And then they have and then it's basically another recap of everything, but this encapsulates Evil Dead 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And I also read that Bruce Campbell was talking about, I think he talked about this in the commentary, about how they went through the trouble of reshooting that final scene from Evil Dead 2 where the car and him fall through the portal, and then they just ended up using the footage from the movie anyway, despite there being a quote-unquote rights issue. But, like, where's the fucking rights issue when you can just use the footage anyway? It's weird, but that's... If there's anything that's consistent about the Evil Dead franchise, it's rights and the issues that come with them. But yeah, what happens after the little recap?
And like I said, just kind of retcon him being praised at the end of Evil Dead 2, because now he's just a slave.
Yeah.
Always just in stocks, getting pulled over to the kingdom or whatever.
And Arthur is leading the charge and all that stuff, and he's being taken with Henry the Red's army, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think he's one of them.
Yeah, and Sheila is. They get to the castle, and then we're introduced to Sheila, the fair maiden of the film, I guess. And she's all like, "Oh, where's my brother Arthur?" And Arthur's like,
dead.
"Oh, he's fucking dead." And
Like
then
Chunky.
she's like, and then she gets mad at Ash because she thinks he's one of them, and she's like, "Thou ought to kill her."
The only one not wearing red gets
Yeah.
fucking abused.
Yeah, he's wearing blue. Like he's wearing a fucking torn blue button up and blue jeans. And and then we there's the pit at this point, and Arthur's like, "I'm gonna toss y'all in here."
Yeah.
And then that's when we get the
Well, he demos it with one guy.
Yeah.
Who just gets tossed in, and then there's just a giant blood geyser
it just comes out of nowhere
for some reason.
It just shoots up because that's the pit bitch, baby.
Yeah.
That's what she does. And like there's like silence for a while, and then you just hear him screaming, and then blood everywhere. Regular Friday night for me, if we're being real. But that's besides the point, because then Bruce doesn't have the scuffle, or Ash doesn't have the scuffle with Arthur yet. He kind of like
No, he get like
Ash starts panicking, telling Henry to tell Arthur
Yeah.
that he doesn't know them, that he's not part of their shit, because he doesn't want to go in the pit.
oh yeah, because he talks to Henry, and Henry's like, "I'm Henry the Red," blah blah blah, and then he's like, "Oh well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants," and it's just, and then he's like, "You gotta tell him that I'm not part of this." I remember now.
It's like, I don't think he's gonna listen.
yeah.
And then Ash goes in the pit.
Yeah, he gets like bonked or something, and he's like all like,
Yeah, Sheila-
"Oh."
Sheila threw a rock at him.
Yeah, and then there's that one shot that always gets to me where it's that old lady that just yells at Ash and then bites into this big fucking piece of bread. Love it.
For the longest time, me and my brother thought she was just biting into like a big clump of shit, because that's what it looks like. It's like the most unappetizing looking bread.
And I was telling Justin when we were watching it, I'm like, can you imagine how simple life was back then? You wake up, you don't shower, you just grab a piece of bread, go watch the local execution, live your fucking life. That's incredible. That's the dream, baby.
It's like the one. There's one part in Spartacus where they're doing a public execution and they're just handing like little children stones and saying, "Okay, get ready to throw." And they're
That's,
just chucking it with smiles on their faces like it's a game.
Really brought the family together. Also, side note, all the food that was being thrown at Bruce was, of course,
Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. Yes, Sam Raimi loved to. Sam Raimi loved to do that.
Especially the Bruce.
But he just loves to torture Bruce. Yeah, and so anyway, Ash falls into the pit, and then we see the pit bitch doing acrobatics and
Well,
shit.
the first one comes out.
Oh yeah, the first
I
one.
don't know what that one's called, but
It's just a deadite, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
flipping around, voiced by Sam Raimi, apparently.
Yeah, because I could kind of tell when she gets thrown into the spikes, and he does that, oh, and I was like, oh, yep, that's Sam. It can't be anybody else.
Yeah, then we get the hero shot because Wise Man shows up, throws Ash's chainsaw.
Strange one.
Oh yeah, the wise man that was like, oh, he's prophesized to be the one that falls from the heavens and saves us, and Arthur's like, nah, he's not. He's not. So then he throws the chainsaw. Bruce comically jumps into the air, or Ash jumps into the air and fits it to his hand. And then he cuts the Deadite's fucking head off.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
And I think the director's cut has like a blood splatter that was cut out of the theatrical.
There's like blood gets on the camera
Yeah.
in
something
the
like
theatrical cut, and then I think the director's cut has like the actual shot of the head coming off.
that. Yeah.
And then it falls into the water, and everybody's like, yeah. And then
I like how hype everyone is watching it. Like, yeah, get him.
yeah, because Henry the Red's like, yeah, fucking ooh, yeah. And then he instantly calms down when he sees Arthur. It's good. It's good comedy.
Then
And
the pit bitch comes out.
Then the pit bitch comes out of the wall.
Yeah.
And the story behind this was K&B was talking about, and one of the special features about how they made a bunch of different monsters for the movie, and Sam was like adamant on like, no, like it's already in the script, like I don't really need anything extra, I don't need all this horror shit, we already did that. So K&B was like, I think Greg Nicotero was like, okay, it was him or Bob Kurtzman was like, yeah, okay, so we're just gonna make it and dress one of you up as it, like one of the stump people up as the pit bitch. and we're gonna scare him so that way we can convince him to put it in the movie. And that's what happened. Sam Raimi comes to the effects shop and the pit bitch comes out and he's like, he's like, that's gonna be in my movie. That's gonna be in my movie. So then he put it into the movie because I think it was initially supposed to be just that one deadite, and then they did the pit bitch prank.
Yeah, it's a cool looking like mask.
Yeah, goes without saying, practical effects in this film are good.
Yeah.
Part of why it still holds up, for the most part. Some of the effects don't.
Yeah, and anything that isn't practical doesn't look that great.
No, there's a lot of like projection.
The compositing and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of composite shots and stuff. But
yeah, all the practical stuff.
all the practical effects,
up.
all the skeletons look really funny.
Yeah, the stop motion. all
Yeah,
that.
it's very good. But yeah, so he fights the pit bitch. They do the spike thing. Bruce is able to get out, or Ash is able to get out in the nick of time by using his belt.
He throws his belt, it wraps around, and then the next shot is him just holding onto the chain
Yeah.
and just lifting up by that.
And I think Bruce Campbell in the commentary was talking about how shitty that day was because he's like I think my shoulder popped
Yeah.
out of its socket a few times. And I'm just like, oh my god. But like that's one thing that Bruce has said in like every single movie, or in a lot of interviews, and even in his books, he talks about how like if a movie was easy to make, it's probably not going to be a good movie. But if it was hard to make, it's probably going to be fun and probably going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And that seems to ring true with a lot of Sam Raimi's work specifically. But yeah, he's able to escape
Yeah.
in the nick of time. He gets back up.
And then we get one of my favorite bits of him coming up and just being smug as hell,
Yeah.
just taunting everyone.
And he's like, this is my boomstick. But he doesn't do that until after he shoots Arthur's sword in half, right?
Yeah.
First he pushes that dude
Yeah,
on the
just
whip.
bullies that one guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And then he does and then Arthur gets his sword boy,
Just kicks him down.
kicks him down when he unsheathes it. And then Ash shoots the sword in half. And then he does the iconic "This is my boomstick" line, and basically gives a little monologue where he tries to sell up that it's available at S-Mart, Shop Smart, Shop S-Mart, and he does that whole thing.
Which was almost Kmart, apparently.
Oh, really?
It was supposed to be Kmart, but they couldn't get the rights to it.
Oh my God,
So
that's
they-
amazing.
So they just did S-Mart.
But I like S-Mart though. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I think it fits in with the tone of the franchise at this point. And yeah, he gives that little speech.
Then he blasts the pit bitch comes up, blasts
Yeah.
it. It does like a Power Rangers flip back into the pit.
Yeah, very gratuitous Power Rangers flip. That's right. And yeah, the pit bitch dies, fucking dead. Next thing you know, Bruce Campbell's Ash is being revered,
Yeah, living like a king.
and he's like, does he? I think he already talks to the old guy, and he's like, we got to figure out how to get me home or whatever. And
It's when he's talking to him that the other deadite in the room like knocks over
when the
that
witch comes up, yeah.
knocks over a stew or whatever that
Because
is.
we have, I like that's one of my favorite bits too, and I'll talk about why in a second. But yeah, he's like being fed grapes and shit, and then Sheila comes up to him, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were one of the pillagers or whatever." And he's like, "All right." He's like eating grapes. He's like, "First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me," and he just kind of like pauses. Blow. and then what's his name walks in, and he's like, "Oh, we figured out how to send you home or whatever the fuck." I don't remember what he's talking about. But then he's like, "We need the Necronomicon though." And then the witch. This was one of the things that was added in reshoots was the scene with the witch. She's like, "You'll never find the Necronomicon. I'll swallow your soul," whatever the fuck. And there's a part where one of the knights runs up to her and she
Yeah.
like throws hot water, and for a pretty significant part of the scene, you just hear, "Oh, my eyes!
I'm
I'm
blind.
I can't see!" Oh, and he's like really selling it. And then the other guy comes up and she pushes him away, and she pushes Arthur away. And then I think Ash knocks her out, or somebody knocks her out, and then Arthur like, oh no, this is the part I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Somebody knocks her out. And then Arthur's going to like grab her shoulder in very tropey fashion.
Yeah.
And Ash is like, "No, it's a trick.
Yeah, get an axe.
Get an axe." And then she wakes up and comically throws them around, as the Deadites have done
Yeah.
in the past two films.
Then we get a lot of camera shake and quick montage of Ash just blowing her to shit.
Blowing her to pieces, yeah. And then she just like topples over. And then Ash is like, "Fuck yeah, I'm Ash. Hail to the king." Whatever. He doesn't say that yet.
Yeah, she was played by Patricia Tallman, who is like a stunt woman
Yeah,
actress who was also played Barbara in the remake of Night of the Living Dead,
Really?
the Tom Savini one.
Ah,
Yeah, she was pretty good in that too.
Barbara. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to do one day.
Yeah.
Could be the next one. Who knows? I won't until this episode's over. But anyway,
Anyway,
yeah. So then he kills the witch or whatever, and then they're like, "All right, well,
you're the only one who can go get the book, so go
Yeah.
get it.
yeah, we're gonna figure out how to get you home or whatever. But first, you gotta get a new arm or whatever."
I'm
So
gonna
then
need a hand.
you have that.
You could have said that. That's on par with Ash.
It honestly is. And then we have another extended montage. A very another thing that Edgar Wright probably borrowed from quite a bit.
Based his career on.
Yeah, of the hand being made and the pneumatic press and everything and all of that. And then he squeezes a cup and he's like, "All right, I'm ready." So
Doesn't
then
he say groovy?
Yeah, he says groovy.
he says groovy, that's right. And then, before that, he makes out with Sheila. In the director's cut, they have sex, and it's a really short scene.
Yeah.
And I think Sam Raimi was talking about how he wanted it to be longer, but he was like, it's whatever. He's like, I don't really care.
It just makes me think of that part in Wolf of Wall Street when he has sex with Margot Robbie for the first time. He's like, fucked her brain out for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "That's it?" Yeah, I remember. Because he rolls over and she's just like, "That's it?" That's yeah, I remember that. I remember that, but I haven't seen the movie in straight up 10 years.
I watched it yesterday.
It'll be 10 years next year since I've watched it.
Oh, you know what else I finally watched?
One of these days,
The
I'll rewatch
Gentleman.
it. The Gentleman?
yeah.
Isn't that what was that?
It's
Isn't that-
shit. It's the guy who did Snatch and all
Guy
that
Ritchie.
Oh,
Guy
that's
Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
That's what it is.
Oh, that's the Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah.
with McConaughey and Shelley Dunn.
Yeah, my cousins went to see that a while back. I remember when that one came out. Yeah. Yeah, Guy Ritchie movies are always really fun. Snatch is a lot of fun. I remember the Sherlock Holmes movies being fun, but I don't remember a lot about them. Guy Ritchie also directed fucking Aladdin, I think.
Yeah.
Weird.
We all
It's not what I associate with his filmmaking style at all.
we all make our mistakes.
And then there's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, obviously.
Didn't he do King Arthur too?
Yeah.
He might have. Yeah, the Charlie
I think he
Hunnam
did.
one.
I think he did. Yeah. That also is one I don't really associate with his style, but whatever. He,
Gotta make your money.
get paid, King. Whatever. Snatch is a great movie. I can't understand a goddamn word Brad Pitt says in it,
That's the point.
and I love it.
You like dags?
It's so good. But yeah, that's but yeah, they have that little scene, and then Ash sets off to find the book. And along the way, he starts getting chased by the dead.
Yeah, the Force. or
Another
whatever
one
it's
of
called.
those, another one of those iconic POV shots. Great shot. Love it. Love it. And he's being chased into a windmill basically. And then I don't remember the specifics of the director's cut having more continuity, but it makes more sense when the little ashes pop up. I know that.
What happened is in the theatrical cut, he's just like sitting in front of a fire, turns around, sees himself, starts running, and then just slams like headfirst into a mirror.
Yeah.
So like it looks kind of dumb.
Like he loses his mind. Yeah.
In the director's cut or one of the deleted scenes, it's like a prolonged sequence of him like going outside, like kind of like looking around, like shit's all spooky. I think he's like tying up his horse, and then he turns around and he sees himself standing in the windmill, and the door slams shut by itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and
That's
so he
right.
runs in, like opens the door, and then slams into the mirror.
Ah, yeah, that's much better. And then the mirror breaks, all little ashes come out, and one of the most memorable scenes of the movie, where
Just start making havoc.
they start wreaking havoc. Ash kills one of them with a pitchfork,
That
Yeah,
tiny pitch.
tiny little fork.
tiny little fork, throws it at him, and then the other one, he starts doing the fee-fi-fo-fum thing, tries to step on
Oh,
him.
he said London Bridge is falling down.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. London Bridge is falling down, and then he gets the nail.
Like gasp.
And then it's my fair lady. All the little ashes do that. And then he gets knocked out at one point. He wakes up and he's tied up like, what is it, Gilligan's Island?
Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels. Same diff. It's all it's a G word. Whatever. I don't give a
Those are
shit.
two totally different
Fuck
things.
you. I don't care.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I dream of Genie.
Yeah, I dream of Genie. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah, and then he stands up, and there's that one Ash going hysterical that I love. And then,
well, they
oh yeah,
The
they
one
make him
jumps in his
swallow
mouth
one.
first.
Yeah. They make the one jump in his mouth because they hold his nose shut, and then he's like, and to be honest, I think we could have held our breath a little longer than that. But you know what?
I mean, the movie couldn't just sit and hold for like 60 full seconds.
that would be a choice. Just him.
Yeah, that's
All right, hold your breath.
that's the A24 cut.
Yeah, like in a Ghost Story when
Yeah,
Rudy
right.
Mara eats a pie for how long was it? Like 16 minutes?
No, it's like 9.
It was 9.
Yeah.
It felt longer.
Yeah, it felt longer. But
But you know what? She was really eating that pie, and then she threw it up. God bless her. Love Rudy Mara. Anyways, so yeah, he swallows himself.
and then,
What a sentence that is. And then
and then does the smart thing and just starts chugging boiling water.
yeah, he gets a tea kettle that I guess was already boiling.
Yeah, already on.
And he just drinks it, and then you just hear the fucking guy just like just boiling to death.
I mean, why wouldn't he already be melting from the stomach acid?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he
mean,
was like,
How did his face not melt from drinking boiling water?
maybe he was like stuck in the esophagus like this with his hands out.
It's like I said, this movie makes no goddamn sense, but it commits to it.
Yes, and I love
It's
it.
consistently ridiculous.
It's consistently ridiculous, and yeah, and the commentary, as we mentioned, Raimi and Campbell were both like, man, you know, it's too bad that we had to cut all this shit out for no fucking reason. But then eventually an eye starts growing out of.
Yeah,
his
for whatever
shoulder.
reason, that leads other Ash in him to start growing out for some reason.
Very strange, but it happens.
Good effect though.
Yeah, very good effect. And
gross,
then
gross eye
It
blinking on his
reminded
shoulder.
of me of that episode of Billy and Mandy where he eats all that junk food and that separate one grows on him because of all of it.
I don't remember that episode, man.
Sounds about right.
It's been like 20 years since I watched The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I used to like that show a lot. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember liking it. I remember it being gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those.
Who was it? Maxwell Adams
Mhm.
was the creator. Yeah, yeah. Still, you know, I still like Invader Zim more, but
Yeah.
Oh, well, nothing's going to top Zim.
Well-
Also gross.
depends on what part of the internet you go to. But anyway, so he drinks the boiling water. He drinks. I'm glad it finally clicked. He drinks the boiling water, and then the separate ash grows, and he's like, it's getting bigger, or whatever the fuck. And he starts running. We get a very comical scene of the ash growing out of him, and then
It's funny to see like just that dummy head just hanging
Yeah.
off his shoulder, just like wiggling around.
the dummy head that's got like a weird smile on its face. And then Bruce Campbell in the commentary was like, "Yeah, I got inspiration for it from Sam Raimi, obviously.
Yeah, for Bad Ash,
Bad Ash was all Sam."
just mocking him.
And then they have a little bit of a scuffle before Ash blows his fucking face off. Literally,
Yeah, blows him into a tree that starts shaking whenever he hits it.
and then he takes him, dismembers him, throws him in the ground. And then, you know, Bad Ash is like, "You'll never get the Necronomicon." Blah, blah, blah. And then
What's that on your face?
And then,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi throws a pile of dirt into Bruce Campbell's face, and then he buries him and goes to the book, and we get another iconic scene, probably the best scene in the movie, honestly, as far as comedy goes. I remember, I remember being at the old Rosenberg Music Store in town before it closed. It's like fucking 20 years ago almost. Like, no, more like 15 years ago. And I remember one of the times I was taking like guitar lessons there or something, and there was a time where they just had like a tube TV out, and it was tuned to WB39, and the kid was watching Army of Darkness on it, and it was this scene that was on there. And I always thought it was from Evil Dead 2 for some reason, which is kind of funny to me because Evil Dead 2 was supposed to be the Medieval Times one. But that got, you know, scrapped when they made Evil Dead 2. But yeah, I always thought it was from Evil Dead 2, but no, it's from Army of Darkness. And you know, and it's a great scene where Ash is told to recite 3 words. And
Well, first is him trying to figure out which book is the right one.
yeah, because there's 3 books on a
Yeah.
pedestal.
Opens up one and just turns into a weird black hole portal thing that just like sucks him in.
Yeah, he gets sucked in, and then he crawls his way out, and his face is stretched quite a bit. he stands up, or he gets out of the book, and he shakes his head until his face goes back to normal. And it's very funny.
Yeah. It's a good practical effect,
It's
too.
very good practical effect. I love it so much. And then the other, this is one of my favorite parts, because there's the 2 books, and he's about to grab one, and then he's like, okay.
You almost got me.
Like, you almost got me. He grabs the other one and just fucking bites his hand. And then he's like, and he shakes it off, and then it, like, starts flying at him.
Yeah.
Just
And
remember, sometimes the obvious choice is the right choice.
Yes. And then I don't remember how he stops the flying one.
It just stops attacking him.
It just stops, yeah,
like
of course.
Like he throws it, and it just, like, lands back on the...
And then he goes to the
pedestal.
last one, and he's like, all right, this is it. And then he tries to remember the words, and he can't.
I love his face at that point.
Yeah, because he says the first 2 words, and then he just kind of like has this moment of realization as it dawns on him that he does not remember what the next word is, and he's like, I knew it was an N-word, and I was like, no, Ash, don't do it. But he's
Get on, Mr. President.
but he's trying to remember it, and he like says the first 2 lines again, and he's like he like tries to like cough the light out,
Tries to fake out the spirits.
and then he gets the book, despite fucking up.
Yeah.
And then
All hell literally starts breaking loose.
all the skeletons come out, and we get another great slapstick scene of him just being tortured by all these
It's
skeletons.
a Three Stooges sequence.
Yeah, and there's the part where he blocks the fucking.
Blocks one of them. Like he sticks his tongue out, grabs his tongue, and then he tries to block it again, and they come in from
And they come
both
in from
sides.
the sides, and then there's that part where he's like, "Oh no, and then like 5 skull hands punch him,
Yeah, he just looks at the camera. He just looks terrified, and then all the fists just come out from the screen.
and then
just
it's
punch
just
him.
that noise, and then he's and then eventually he's able to get away, but Evil Ash resurrects
Yeah.
and reforms, and then he's like, "I live again," and then it's a really cool shot.
Also played by Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell does all that. I remember we were talking about it a while back where we thought that was Bill Moseley, but he actually plays.
Yeah, that was a rumor for a while. Is that that was played by Bill Moseley, because he is in the movie, but he just has like a quick, like basically throwaway part
Old Chop Top himself.
as one of the Deadite captains.
And that came about because Bill Moseley loved Evil Dead 2,
Yeah.
and he actually wrote a letter to Sam Raimi. And he was like, look, I'm Bill Moseley. I was Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2. I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead 2, so if you ever do an Evil Dead 3, please, I'd love to be. He's like, even if it's just a bit part, I'd love to be in it. And then Bill Moseley said that Sam wrote him back and said, yeah, I love Chop Top. Like, I love him. And Sam Raimi would love Texas Chainsaw 2. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I love Chop Top. Like, that's one of my favorite characters and whatever. And so he asked him, can you do a British accent? And Bill Moseley's like, I mean, I had never done one before, but like, I gave him this real prim and proper, accent. And he was like, yeah, perfect. All right. And then he had me ride a horse, and that sucked. And, he was just talking about his experience. But yeah, he's got like one throwaway line, and the only other time he's seen is when he's bringing the scout, and the scout's like, yeah, it's over there, the book is behind there, it's the most likely place, and then that's the only other time, but the only line he has is, oh, fucking, we're winning, or whatever he says. I don't remember.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, oh, fucking, we're winning, Lord, me Lord. And then Ash is just like, rawr, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think Bruce Campbell mentioned it was like 3 hours in a makeup chair, getting all gussied up as Evil Ash.
Yeah, it was awful. I can only imagine. At least he didn't have to wear the contacts.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody did except Bill Moseley.
probably.
But let me see. Yeah, it's right here. Evil Ash makeup took about 3 hours to apply.
Looks great though.
And so then Ash gets back, and then that's when we get everybody saying like, "Oh, the prophesized one has returned," and everybody's happy to see him. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my face!" and puts water on himself. And the old man's like, "Oh, did you get it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got it." But he's like, "But nothing. Did you say the words?" And he's like, "Well,
I didn't say every syllable. But,
I didn't say every syllable, but I mean, yeah, I basically said the words." And then he's like, "No, what you've done, you've resurrected the evil. The evil rises. It's useless to us now," and all this other shit. And
yeah.
and then
Ash basically kind of shows his true colors. Like I don't give a shit. Like just send me back home.
yeah, just send me back home and all that. And then there's the pillow talk line.
All the villagers kind
Fucking
of
coward.
turn their back on him.
And also, I wrote down that I think Raimi said that all the dialogue from the time the evil army awakes and then into the battle sequence is dubbed.
Oh yeah.
And one of Sam's biggest regrets with the film is that Ash's character gets lost towards the end of the film, He said that to him the movie just becomes a bunch of skeleton action. Like it's not really about Ash anymore. It's just Jason and the Argonauts.
That, and he said Ash's character becomes too heroic.
Yeah.
Like for him, the point of Ash's character is to be a coward. Is to just be like kind of a like braggart asshole.
Yeah, and that's why initially in the script, when Ash leaves after the army breaks through, like after he leads this valiant, speech and everything, after the army breaks through, there was going to be a quick scene of him cowering in a corner
Yeah.
before gaining the courage to fight back. And then one of the soldiers in the upcoming sequence that gets killed is Bruce Campbell's dad, which I also think is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
his dad was in there.
and then we get Ted Raimi in 3 different roles too, coming up too. But so yeah, Ash basically says "fuck y'all, I'm leaving," and then the army comes, or I think Evil Ash comes and kidnaps Sheila.
No, that flying thing.
Oh, the flying deadite, yeah, the flying deadite that looks a lot like the one from the end of Evil Dead 2.
A little bit.
Comes and takes Sheila and takes her to Evil Ash, and Ash is like, "Ah, kiss me, bitch," and then he kisses her. And then, they lead a bunch of big booby slaves because
Rob Tappert.
I was gonna say I think Rob Tappert at his suggestion. He was like, I need some big boobies. Give them to me. Just put them in there. Don't have to whatever. I don't care. And then that's what happens. He's like, we got plans for you, lady. All the skeletons wake up. I love that scene too.
Yeah.
Because there's that one that wakes up and just goes and then starts laughing. And I love that. It's a great scene.
The skeletons are gonna bone them.
Yeah, exactly. See, there we go. There's the line. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my room. Get out. Get out of here.
No.
You made Kale blue screen. Look what you did. Get out of here.
Oh.
Get out. Get him get him out of here. Get him the hell out of here. But anyway.
I do like all the skeleton vocal performances, though.
Yeah, they're all
They all
great.
sound like Skeletor and just have English accents.
I love the part when Sheila unveils herself, and there's that one, oh, isn't she a sight for sore bones?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's really stupid. I love it so much. And then, but in between all that, it's gonna get real muddy here because I'm just gonna combine everything that happens at the end. One of my favorite bits in the end is when when they're all talking about what's gonna happen. And Ted Raimi plays a knight. It's like, but I'm afraid. Like
I don't want to die.
I don't want to die, but I'm afraid. Just please don't. And then like minutes later, Bruce Campbell fires his gun. And he's like, all right, listen, you fucking cowards.
Gives a rousing battle speech.
He gives a rousing battle speech, and Ted Raimi, as a different character, is like, you will have my steel.
Yeah, you can count on my steel.
Down on my steel, yeah. And then and then Ted Raimi shows up again fighting with Arthur, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
At one point. But yeah, so then the evil army rolls up.
No, first they modify his car.
Yes, they do. That's right.
They make the death coaster.
He's got the Coca-Cola bottle in the back. He's got a Fangoria magazine. He's got everything.
Chemistry book.
He's got everything you want.
I
Basically ushers in a new age of weaponry by teaching them about gunpowder.
Absolutely.
I think I remember reading that none of that was product placement. That was all just shit that Sam Raimi had in his car.
I 100% believe it. That's amazing.
Just a
Why?
Coke
Can you
bottle in the
imagine?
back.
Why would Sam Raimi have a chemistry book in his fucking car?
Chemistry
That's
book,
incredible.
steam power. Those might have been put there so that they have an excuse to like build all this stuff.
The Coca-Cola though was 100% just Sam. I know it.
Yeah, we get another montage scored by Danny Elfman.
Yeah. Danny
This time.
Elfman did that one. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Because Joe DeLuca did the score.
Yeah. Joe LaDuca did like the rest of the music, and then Danny Elfman had March of the Deadites, I think is what that track is called.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah. All the music in this is pretty good.
Oh yeah, music across
And-
all of them is very good.
And apparently, going by what Sam said in the commentary, both Joe and Danny did it for free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, did it without getting paid.
Yeah, that's right. I remember reading that. I remember the line about Danny. I didn't know Joe did it for free though. But yeah, so then
Get a montage of him helping him gear up, teaching him about gunpowder,
yeah, and then we get
gearing up the classic.
the scout
Yeah.
comes back for the Deadites, and he's like, "Oh yes, the book is over there, me lord." Fucking oh. And then they advance, they shoot arrows. So I guess for this part, because it's kind of muddy, I just want to talk about my favorite sequences.
Yeah, it's just like a big battle.
It's just a big
sequence.
Jason and the Argonauts style stop motion battle.
Yeah, we get. Well, that's what I like is the mix of effects. Like we got guys in costumes, We got like puppet skeletons being carried around, and we got stop motion.
I like
skeletons.
what's the one?
The one that was just riding on the horse, bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it was
there's the one that there's the one that's crawling towards Ash at one point with the knife in his mouth.
Yeah, cut your gizzard out.
Yeah, cut your gizzards, yeah. And then Ted Raimi also has a voice line as one of the skeletons, several of the skeletons probably, but he's the one that's like, let's get the hell out of here, and then like that other one that's just screaming. But yeah, there's that. I also read that Bruce Campbell had to like memorize, because he was fighting against stop motion skeletons, so he had to memorize the choreography by numbers. And Sam Raimi told K&B, like, make it as complicated as possible. Make it as miserable for him as you fucking can. And I'm just like, oh my god, like fuck, like Jesus Christ. I mean, that's Sam Raimi, but like, fuck, man.
And it works.
I mean, yeah, it's great, but like, fuck it, what cost, you know? It's that picture of Wario, I've won, but at what cost? And he's just like, looks all sad.
I like the bit where he like picks one up, breaks it over his knee, and it makes like that like ceramic pot breaking sound effect.
That's the part that made me adjust and laugh, because he pushes that one out of the way. The other one comes up, he just throws him off. It's so fucking good. And then, you know, there's the fight with Evil Ash. It's great. Very tongue-in-cheek. Very fun. And he sets Evil Ash on fire, and he comes back, and he's like, I got a bone to pick with you. And then, you know, they fight for a bit. Evil Ash takes the book. And
I like how Sheila shows up like twice and just gets like thrown and like dismissed.
She gets fucked, yeah. And then
you found me beautiful once.
Oh yeah.
What did he say?
Babe, you got real ugly. And then but there's a part where Evil Ash and Ash are fighting, and the lantern or whatever gets knocked out of his hand, and a torch gets knocked out of his hand and lights up like this dynamite thing on a catapult.
Yeah, it lights like I guess like a bag of gunpowder, like on a catapult.
And they tumble down. Well, Ash falls, and then Evil Ash follows, and he's like, you're never gonna get the Necronomicon, you fucking skeeg. And then, you know, he cuts off his hand.
Yeah. Evil Ash jumps down onto the catapult,
Yes.
which has the fuse running. Like he's holding the Necronomicon, mocking Ash, and then Ash just grabs a sword, cuts his hand off, and then
Launch.
yeah.
And then he launches him, and then he flies away and explodes in comical fashion. And basically, Evil dies. Evil dies tonight. So
Well, the rest of the skeletons ran away.
yeah, the
Yeah,
rest of
they
the
all took
skeletons
off.
run away.
I was thinking, is that kind of like a bootstrap paradox thing where evil exists like in the modern world because Ash like started it back in medieval times?
Yeah, but he's also the one that's prophesized to take it down.
Yeah.
They kind of explore that a little bit in Ash vs. Evil Dead and add more to the mythology and shit. But like, it's all stems from that, I think. Yeah, it's like it's one of them Terminator situations, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, it's fun. Who cares? And and so yeah, and then, you know, after the battle, Sheila wakes up and she's all pretty again or whatever.
By Deadite rules, all of the damage she took as a Deadite goes away.
Yeah.
And she wakes up fine.
Yeah. I
And-
don't think that's how it works.
No.
I mean, that's how it's worked in like every other movie, I think.
That's how it works in Ash vs. Evil Dead. I know that.
And in the remake. Like all the shit that Mia did to herself.
That's right.
Like
yeah.
when she undeadites, she's just fine.
Well, yeah, but doesn't she like fucking die at one point and then get resurrected?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's also like
She splits her tongue in half.
splits her
and
tongue.
it's
She's like
perfectly fine.
like boiling herself in the shower
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh, I forgot about the boiling. God, can't wait to
Like,
watch that
like
one.
she
in a couple
suffocates, but
weeks.
yeah, when she comes back, she's just like good as new.
It's me. You know.
Yeah.
She was resurrected anew.
Yeah, because it was like I forgot the rules. I'll remember whenever we watch it. But
I
yeah,
mean-
I in Evil Dead 2. Yeah, I guess in Evil Dead 2. Yeah, when Ash is a Deadite and comes back,
Yeah, he's fine.
he's fine. That squirrel he killed
His chin shrinks.
died in vain. Yeah, as it does. But yeah, so then we're gonna talk about the theatrical ending first. Then we'll talk about the alternate ending. But in the theatrical ending, they give him a potion, and they tell him, yeah, just say the fucking words, you'll be fine. And
just
then
cut to modern day.
it cuts to modern day after he kisses Sheila, and he's talking to Ted Raimi again, as an S-Mart employee. And Ted Raimi's like, say the words right this time? And he's like, well, you know, I may not have said every syllable, but, you know, I did. And then, you know, this hot coworker is like, oh, I think that story's cute. And then a Deadite pops up out of nowhere, Again, basically, something that would very much happen in Ash vs. Evil Dead. And then Ash fights it.
The Deadeye pops up. He just like shoves the girl
Yeah,
away.
he shoves her out of the way.
You just hear like.
And then he fucking Terminator 2s her with the repeat action revolver.
Lever rifle.
Lever rifle, that's the word. Rifleman, whatever. And he shoots her a bunch of times. She fucking dies or whatever, explodes, I don't know. And then she's like, I'll swallow your soul. And he's like, come get some. And, But my favorite part is when he jumps on top of the counter and he's like, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
Yeah.
Like I just love that because having worked retail, that's what it feels like sometimes. You have to point a gun at an employee, at a customer and say, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store, all right? Just get the fuck out of here, please. But I want my Christmas lights. Y'all, it says online that y'all have this specific Christmas light. And I'm like, well, it's not fucking here. I don't know what to tell you. Jeez. I get PTSD sometimes from working
That's how I
at
feel
Target.
when people complain about their food at work and send it back for like
Well,
the
that's just
stupidest reason.
That's just because you're a bad cook, Justin. Anyway.
I don't make
it. So
This dish is dirty. Fuck you.
so anyway.
Well, they are now that I don't wash them.
Hey, that's how it goes, baby. That's how it goes. But yeah, so then he kills the Deadite, and then he does a Hail to the King, baby, kisses the girl.
And get our hero ending.
Get the hero ending, the studio ending, the happy ending that everybody wanted.
Which, I mean, even if it's a studio thing, I still really like that ending. I think
fits.
I think it works for this movie. It wouldn't have worked in like Evil Dead 2 or 1, but since this one kind of foregoes the dark horror shit, and it's more of just like a fantasy adventure, this feels like a fantasy adventure ending.
I think I kind of feel the same about both of them. Because in the alternate ending, which was filmed in the original Batcave, by the way.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
In the alternate ending, Ash is given a potion, and he's like, all right, no more than 3 drops.
6.
It's
supposed to be I don't think they say it, but it's supposed to be 1 for each century that you want to sleep.
Okay. No more than 6 drops.
Like he takes 5, gets distracted by something, and then does 5 and 6 again. He takes 1 too many.
Yeah, and then he wakes up.
And the world is just
and
ended.
the apocalypse ends, and the apocalypse happens. And Bruce Campbell thinks the original ending is more appropriate because Ash is a fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's like the point.
I mean, yeah, it's more in line with Evil Dead as a series.
And there's a couple things here. First of all, I wrote that it's mildly depressing to hear them talk about a prospective Evil Dead 4 because that Evil Dead 4 was going to be Ash in the future getting a bunch of refugees together to fight the evil because that's what caused the apocalypse is what the idea was going to be. But then, as you know, that never happened. And then instead we got the Evil Dead remake, which, in its own right is,
well, I was
Great.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, that ending you're talking about, it sounded like they built up to that again with Ash versus Evil Dead and still didn't pay it off.
Spoilers for that, Justin. You're not going to watch it anyway. So, yeah.
I mean, it might be an animated series soon, so we might get something like that.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk a little bit about Ash vs. Evil Dead because that isn't connected to the remake, so I figured it'd be better to talk about it here. Just a little bit. I'm not going to, like, analyze the fucking show or anything. But,
Yeah, we ain't got time for that.
Yeah, because that'd be an extra 3 hours. I'd have to like look stuff up like real time to remember things. But anyway, yeah. So then Evil Dead 4 never happened. We got the remake, which was good. And the idea was Bruce Campbell's cameo at the end of that was supposed to be a tease for a 7th film, or was it going to be? Because that would have been Evil Dead 4, and then. Why the fuck? Where did the number 7 come from?
I was going to say, why did you say 7?
The number 7
It's a lot of movies.
is on the fucking Wikipedia page about it. But basically, there was going to be, I think, a sequel to both of them, to Army of Darkness and to the remake. And then the third sequel to that was going to be combining Mia and Ash's realities because, that Evil Dead takes place in a different universe and all that other shit.
Which would have been cool.
But that never happened. Instead, we got Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is also very good. Ash vs. Evil Dead's TV show that was on Starz for 3 seasons and got canceled because nobody likes good shows.
There you go.
Especially Justin. Justin hates good shows. That's why you like Sons of Anarchy. Anyway, so especially after season 4. So anyway, but yeah, and Ash vs. Evil Dead, like we mentioned, is kind of strikes the balance between the humor of Army of Darkness and the gore of Evil Dead 2. And I like it a lot. I think it's great. I recently watched all of it like earlier this year when I bought the Groovy Collection because I had only had the first season on Blu-ray, and then I bought the second season and didn't watch it for some reason. And then the Groovy Collection, it comes with all 3 seasons. And I think all 3 seasons are equally good. It expands on the mythos. It adds a bunch of new characters. You have Ash's daughter show up at one point, and there's a lot of funny shit with that.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite bits is a part where I think Ash's daughter. I don't remember Ash's daughter's name. Do you remember it by any chance?
Brandy?
I think it is Brandy. Yeah, her mom gets possessed by the evil. Ash kills her, and then Brandy's like upset about it. And I think Ash calls her Carly at one point.
Or like Cindy or something like
And
that.
she's like, "It's Brandy," and fuck you. And then like the end of the episode is Bruce Campbell taking a hit of a doobie and offering it to her, and being like, "You want a hit?" And that's just how that episode ends. And then it introduces all this other stuff, and then it basically culminates like Ash goes to his hometown. I think in season 2, and you meet his dad. Played by Lee Majors.
Yeah.
And he dies in a very big jump scare that still pisses me off because it gets me every fucking time because there's no build up to, because he gets run over by the Classic because it gets possessed. The Classic gets possessed at one point and he gets run over, and it's quiet until the fucking impact happens and it's loud as shit. And I have my home theater system that I have fairly loud, but even if I didn't have it fairly loud, that shit would have blown my fucking ears out. And it was really fucking loud, and it made me jump, and I got mad. But anyway, that all happens, and then his dad comes back as a Force ghost basically in the 3rd season, and Ash is in his hometown. At the end of the 2nd season, he like hooks up with like a high school sweetheart, and then she's just non-existent in the 3rd season. It's really weird. She just like disappears, which I guess is in line with the franchise, but it's still weird. But yeah, that 3rd season, basically, what's her name? Lucy Lawless plays basically this like cadaver for the evil that initially is swayed to be like fight for humanity, but then a past version of herself or something comes and kills her.
A lot happens.
And then
a lot of shit happens.
And then it ends with the evil fucking this big fight that's really cool. And then it ends like Army of Darkness, where Ash wakes up like in the future after he sends everybody off and tells them to live their lives or whatever. And he's like got a robot arm now. And then like there's this robot girl that kind of reminds me of what's her name, Ava from Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
And she's like, we gotta go stop the evil or whatever. And then he gets into a souped up version of the Classic and drives off. And like Kale said, it's like what they seem to be setting up with Evil Dead 4, and they still don't get to finish it because it got canceled. So that sucks. But like he also said, we might be getting an animated series soon. I mean, Evil Dead's still relevant today. We have the game that came out not too long ago.
I mean, we got a couple of games. We got Fistful of Boomstick.
Oh yeah, Regeneration.
Regeneration, Hail to the King.
Yeah, that was the PS1 one, right? Hail to the King?
the RE clone.
The Resident Evil clone, and then we got Evil Dead the game, which is like Friday the 13th and shit like that.
So there's no shortage of content.
And then we got Evil Dead
fans.
Rise coming out in April.
Yeah.
Or March, I don't remember, but it's coming out next year in theaters. I can't wait.
Yeah. When did that apparently tested so well that like they gave it a theatrical run?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for that movie. And then we had the remake, which we're going to talk about in a couple weeks. So yeah, Evil Dead, I don't think is going to die anytime soon, thankfully. Sucks, that Bruce Campbell doesn't really play Ash anymore. Really sucks that he wasn't in Mortal Kombat 11 like he was supposed to be. But that's the way it comes from.
It's just the disappointment that MK11 was.
Yeah, MK11's fine. You just hate good things. Anyway, what?
I don't know if I would have liked seeing him get torn apart like that.
Well,
that would have hurt.
Well, that's why you just play as him. and that's it.
And don't lose.
And don't ever lose, yeah. But yeah, so Evil Dead has its legacy. So there's a lot of shit that I wrote down. Some of it is just like back behind the scenes stuff, like Bruce Campbell saying that he wasn't good at riding a horse. It wasn't until he was on The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. that he really learned, which is a show that I want to watch because of Bruce Campbell. I love Bruce Campbell. Y'all probably figured that out though. And then I think Rob Tapper didn't initially want the actress that played Sheila because she wasn't like, voluptuous or anything. She's just kind of
sounds about right for Rob.
She's kind of a girl, but I mean, she plays the part well enough. I mean,
she knew what kind of movie she was.
There wasn't much effort required for her part.
Yeah, it was just
do a
she understood the assignment, and then the Bill Mosby thing. K and B came back to do the special feature or the fucking
Special effects?
special effects and stuff. Sam didn't get the final cut for this film, but he wanted it because Darkman he didn't get the final cut for either. Because, studio movies, it's just how it is. The MPA stuff that I talked about and all of that. So there's an alternate opening for the movie, too, which was supposed to start with Ash retelling the story of the first two films while stuck in some sort of purgatory or limbo.
Yeah, it's like all dark and then his eyes are like lit up.
And Bruce Campbell said that, or Bruce Campbell, remembers wearing a fake beard for the scene. And Sam Raimi's like, I don't know if that's true. He's like, I don't really remember that. And Bruce Campbell's like, I remember sitting in the makeup chair for it.
I think they said like that intro was supposed to go along with the original ending.
Yeah.
Like him telling his story.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's some other stuff like the fact that Sam Raimi wanted to use as many skeletons as possible during the fight scenes. Like he would ask the crew, like, how many skeletons you got? And they tell him, well, it says on the page 40 something, but we have 160. And Sam Raimi would be like, I want 160. And they'd just be like, okay. And the effects team talked about how they were worked towards the point of exhaustion. At one point, working 22 days in a row without a break. Ugh. And they told Rob Tappert on day 21, like, hey, man, we need a break. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, it's hot out here because it's the middle of summer. Like, I'm tired. We need something. And Rob Tappert's like, okay, I'll go talk to Sam. And then he said he turns around for a second, and when he turns back around, he just sees Rob Tappert's car comically driving away, just like away from the set, because he doesn't even want to bother trying to talk to Sam. And then just some more general facts. It was financial success. It grossed $21.5 million on an $11 million budget. Very good for 1992, if we're being honest. And also there was some stuff, other behind-the-scenes stuff, like the fact that very early on they decided to get Ash out of the cabin because they already done 2 films like that. And initially there was a draft where he got sent back earlier in the film and like was able to, do whatever in the cabin again. But they decided to just keep it in 1300 because it was more interesting.
Huh.
And then filming was once again very difficult for Campbell. He had to rely on the number system that I talked about earlier. And then, the stuff about Sam Raimi making the choreography as complicated as possible. At one point, Campbell cut his chin on a stuntman's piece of armor while filming that final fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
And he went to the doctor. They took him to the ER, and they were like, which cut is it? Because he had all the makeup on.
Yeah, he still had the prosthetics on him.
So they had to make, like, a plastic thing to put over the scar to keep continuity with the rest of the scars. And just like Evil Dead 2, they filmed it out of order, so like they had to just kind of guess how Ash would look at certain points in the film, because I don't know why they never just shot it chronologically.
I mean, and he's getting the shit beat out of him the whole movie, so I think they're just sort of like what's one more cut?
Yeah, it works. And then I talked about that, the reshoots for the opening scene. And the film has a 74% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is significantly lower than the first 2 movies. And the consensus is Army of Darkness is a madcap adventure worth taking, thanks to Bruce Campbell's hammy charm and Sam Raimi's acrobatic direction, although an intentional lack of shocks makes this a discordant capper to the Evil Dead franchise. Fuck you, all right?
I mean, they're not wrong, but yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them. It's fine. It's a good movie. It's one of my favorites.
You can't compare it to the other 2.
You really can't. No, the first 2 movies are like, it's such a departure, and I can understand why people wouldn't like that. And I'm sure there's people that don't like Army of Darkness, but those people are silly, and they need to get a sense of humor, I guess. I don't know. God,
Medieval Dead would have been such a good title.
Yeah, Medieval Dead would have been great. Army of Darkness is like, because like that's the thing that Bruce Campbell was talking about too. He was like, if it was Medieval Dead, you'd know what movie you're going into. He's like, but Army of Darkness,
it sounds like a standalone.
It sounds like just its own thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it.
Yeah.
So what are our final thoughts on Army of Darkness? I got to get the wheel ready. That's right.
The wheel.
'Tis good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
If you haven't, for whatever reason.
Yeah, why'd you listen to this? Otherwise,
Dumb bastard.
You fucking silly.
Can't believe you. You should unsubscribe.
See what you did to Kale? You hurt him.
Damn.
He's melting right in front of him. He's going to turn into a puddle.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. He can still talk, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great movie. I think it's fine in terms of, like, keeping in line with the franchise. I think the tone is good. It fits in. It just feels like an evolution of Evil Dead 2 as far as the slapstick stuff goes.
Yeah.
I can understand people that like the gory stuff, being a little disappointed. But again, get a sense of humor.
I mean, you got 2 movies for that.
Yeah, you got 2 movies, one of them being significantly better than the other. But yeah, it's a fun time. Evil Dead has always been a franchise that I've enjoyed since I got into horror and decided to watch all of them. Have not seen the remake in its entirety, so I'm gonna be excited to.
Oh yeah, didn't you say you just watched that one like on TV while making deliveries or something like that?
Yeah, and surprisingly, it was not censored at all.
Yeah, on Sci-Fi.
There was it was on FX. I
Oh,
think.
okay. That
And they
makes
did
sense.
they just did the last shot where Mia does the thing with the chainsaw and blood's just shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And then I think Justin was there with me. He was like, oh, it's Evil Dead. And I'm like, oh, okay. that makes sense. But yeah, so we'll be covering that one in a couple episodes. But first, I got to roll the fucking wheel.
The wheel of misfortune.
That's what we're calling it, I guess. So anyway, let's all hope we don't get something that's going to irreparably damage us. Well, Justin wishes for terrible things to happen, so it's fine.
Yeah.
16. That might be one of
16?
Justin's. It's Dog Soldiers. Fuck yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah, it's Dog Soldiers, baby. Woo! I'm excited. I am very excited for Dog Soldiers. I can't wait. I recently watched
Love
that
this
one
movie.
this past October, and it's a fucking fun as shit werewolf movie.
Yeah.
One of those movies that I shouldn't have put off for as long as I did, but I'm glad I got around to it. So that'll be our next episode. Will be Dog Soldiers. Fuck yeah! I cannot wait to watch that shit again. Whoo! I love that movie. Anyway, everybody say thank you to Kale for joining us.
Oh.
He probably won't be here for Dog Soldiers, but he'll be here in spirit,
Yeah.
and that's what matters.
And then I'll be here for the Evil Dead remake
He'll be here for the Evil Dead remake, and that's the last time you'll see him.
forever.
Unless we pick a one-off that he wants to be a part of, or unless we do like fucking Puppet Master or Phantasm. Puppet Master's gonna be a nightmare. Probably Phantasm before Puppet Master, if we're being honest. Because Puppet Master is like 13 fucking movies.
Yeah. And less than half of them are worth watching.
And for Puppet Master, in all seriousness, we're probably gonna combine some of them.
Yeah.
So
Might as well.
it's gonna be a fucking nightmare.
Shit, we might as well do that when we get to Hellraiser 2.
Listen,
That's going to be a long haul, too.
yeah, at least the remake was good. Or the new one, I guess it's not a remake. It's a
The reboot.
reboot. That's the word, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's Dog Soldiers is next. And then we'll do Evil Dead. And by the time we do Evil Dead, I think me and Justin will have our final 4 for the poll set up. And we'll figure out what franchise we're going to do after that. But anyway, thanks for listening. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify or Dapple, whatever the fuck, I don't know.
Everything.
Do something with your life and listen to us while you do it. All right? So follow me on the glowing hellscape that continues to glow despite all the best efforts for it to be shut down. That is Twitter. At Mustachio Cage for that. Follow our page on Facebook. Justin does that stuff sometimes.
Yep.
And yeah, Kale exists.
Yeah.
And that's all that needs to be said about him.
Don't follow me anywhere. Leave me alone.
If you approach him on the street, he will kill you. He has the license to kill, like Mr. Krabs. But that license expired recently, I found out. But that's besides the point. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoy your life. I don't know. Dog Soldiers is next week. Gotta love it. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.